right now.
From Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network Earl Hutto Studio, this is Troy TrojanVision News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision News for May 31st. I'm Mackenzie Foster and thank you for joining us this evening. Troy University now has a new Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Recently, TrojanVision sat down with the new leader to learn more about his background and future goals. Carrie Palmer's history with Troy starts in an unexpected place and with a familiar figure.
I was in the all-state band at the University of Alabama, and I had decided that that's where I was going to go to school. Dr. John Long from here at Troy was introduced to us and spoke to us, and after the rehearsal, he encouraged me to apply for a scholarship here.
Soon, Palmer was given a scholarship that topped Alabama's, and soon was marching in the one and only Sound of the South. Over the years, he rose through the ranks and eventually served as drum major.
I was drum major for the 92, 93, and 94 marching seasons.
After graduating with a degree in music education, Palmer spent many years in public and private schools, serving as band director, a middle school principal, and later head of school for Trinity Presbyterian Schools. Then, with 15 years of experience under his belt, Palmer came back to Trojan territory.
I was originally hired to be the associate dean of the College of Education, and they were looking for somebody that had a background in K-12 education, but also had a background in fundraising and advancement. Once that offer was made to me, there wasn't any question in my mind I was going to take it.
That's where Palmer was until he was tapped as the Dean of College of Education. He stayed in that position until June of 2023. When he was appointed the Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. For some, overseeing the largest division of the university could be daunting, but Palmer says his primary goal is simple.
The most important interaction that ever takes place in an educational environment is the interaction between the faculty and the student. And I see this role as being the chief supporter of that relationship. From the side of the faculty, giving the faculty what they need to be successful and giving the students what they need to be successful.
Palmer now fills the position that was vacated by Dr. Lance Tatum, who retired after 25 years at Troy to become president of Northwest Missouri State University. Earlier this afternoon, Troy University said goodbye to Director of Broadcast and Digital Network, Buddy Johnson. While surrounded by friends and family alike, Johnson said one final goodbye after over 50 years in the broadcast industry. Jamison Fowler has the story.
After over 50 years in broadcast, Buddy Johnson, director of the Broadcast and Digital Network Department at Troy University, is taking the step into retirement. As a respected industry professional, Johnson has played a pivotal role in shaping the university's reputation for excellence in broadcast.
I've enjoyed it. I graduated from here in 1975. My wife did, all of my children did, so I love Troy, and I've always loved radio and TV. This is my 50th year. In radio and television, when you put everything together. You know, I love Troy, as I said, so we are Troy people.
Throughout his career, Johnson has inspired many people to go into the broadcast field while also sharing the knowledge he gained by working at different stations. Dedicated listeners may recognize Johnson's voice from WTVF and Fox 34 alongside his time spent covering local football and basketball games.
Buddy's done a lot to help build up this program. In the last 15 years, a lot of things have been done. We've made a lot of big purchases. He's helped create where we are right now and help guide where we are as a department. So it's going to be crazy to not have him around anymore. Might be a little more quiet around here, but still a little bit crazy not to have him around anymore. So Buddy loves to talk and get to know everybody and share, and his family is most important.
As Johnson embarks on a new chapter of life, Troy University is celebrating his remarkable career and impact, while those who know him say his legacy will continue broadcast excellence in the years to come. Jamison Fowler, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Johnson now plans to spend his time with his wife and enjoying his favorite hobby, building Lego sets.
Now for news from across the nation and around the world on Troy TrojanVision News.
Turning to national news, all eyes are on the House of Representatives as the bipartisan deal to raise the debt ceiling goes to a full House vote later today. The results could avoid an unprecedented default on the nation's debt. Leaders from both parties are trying to shore up enough votes to pass the measure, even as hardliners on both sides of the aisle express their opposition. Natalie Brand has the latest from Capitol Hill.
I am undecided, but I'm ready to hear what the White House has to say.
On Capitol Hill Wednesday, House Democrats huddled behind closed doors for a briefing with White House negotiators before a high-stakes vote tonight.
I'm confident that we will avoid a catastrophic default.
There are just days to go before the Treasury Department says the U.S. will run out of money to pay its bills. The vote on today's deal would lift the debt limit past the 2024 election, and new projections by the Congressional Budget Office indicates it would cut spending by $1.5 trillion over a decade.
Trillions and trillions of dollars in debt for crumbs, for a pittance.
Some conservatives are putting up a fight, vowing to vote no. There are also concerns from progressive Democrats.
We also need to hold our ground and stand up for the most vulnerable Americans.
The bill squeaked out of the House Rules Committee late last night with 2 Republicans voting against it. Even with GOP hardliners opposed, Speaker McCarthy has signaled to reporters the votes are there.
No, it matters. It's going to become law.
If the bill passes the House, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has put lawmakers on notice.
Senators should be prepared to move on this bill quickly.
That he wants to bring it to the Senate floor as soon as possible. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Most automakers have voluntarily installed automatic emergency braking, which can stop or slow down a car when the driver doesn't react fast enough. But some members of the government now want it required in all cars. Are proposing major improvements to the technology. Astrid Martinez reports.
AAA tested vehicles traveling 30 miles per hour toward a stationary object and found automatic emergency braking, or AEB, was effective at preventing a crash. But that changed when the car's speed increased, and the tech also struggled in other real-world scenarios. The government wants to see that change.
We're proposing to require that these systems be much more effective at much higher speeds.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is proposing new standards that would require AEB to prevent a crash at up to 50 miles per hour.
That means that a vehicle has to stop without touching another vehicle in front of it. The test is very tough to meet.
The government also wants to see the technology improve to help prevent more crashes involving pedestrians.
Previous testing has shown AEB can be effective in the daylight, but struggles avoiding an accident when it's dark out.
Most of the systems are completely ineffective at night.
AAA's Greg Brannon says automakers wouldn't need to make dramatic design changes to reach the new proposed standards.
The major automakers have put the resources behind developing these systems. So what we're talking about is software and philosophical changes to the systems.
But the upgrades would still cost car companies millions. The industry group Alliance for Automotive Innovation tells CBS News it is reviewing the proposal and anticipates submitting comments. The government will consider those comments before finalizing the new rules. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
NASA held a historic public meeting today to discuss the mysteries of the sky. A newly assembled panel of independent experts is investigating unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAPs, formerly called UFOs, and how they affect our planet. Danya Backus has more from Los Angeles.
My gosh! UFOs are real, but what really are they? NASA's newly formed 16-member panel is charged with figuring out how the space agency can use the tools of science to help the federal government understand what's going on in the sky and how it affects Earth.
The study of unidentified anomalous phenomena represents an exciting step forward in our quest to uncover the mysteries of the world around us.
NASA says citizens, commercial airline pilots, and the Department of Defense have reported at least 800 UAP sightings over the past 27 years.
Between 2 and 5% of those events display signatures that could be anomalous, defined as anything that is not readily understandable by the operator or the sensor, something that is doing something weird.
Experts say identifying a UAP is like finding a needle in a haystack, especially since there's a lot going on in the sky. On any given day, there are 45,000 airline flights and 184 weather balloon launches in U.S. airspace. There are also 1.6 million recreational or model planes and 880,000 registered drones.
And the environment that we fly in, space or, an atmospheric flight, very, very conducive to optical illusions.
The panel says while UAPs exist, there is no evidence they are extraterrestrial in origin.
We haven't found life beyond Earth yet, right? I mean, let's be clear about this. We haven't found it yet, but we're looking.
A final report is expected by the end of July. Danya Backus, CBS News.
Well, I've always been a fan of the warmer weather during the summertime, but the heat sure has been getting to me lately. Val, should we expect those temperatures to get even hotter?
Well, Mackenzie, will stay pretty mild for a couple days, but by the weekend we will see some warmer temperatures, but I'll have more about that after our break.
Look at me, hey.
Raymond, look at Mommy.
Maybe the light hurts his eyes.
Maybe she's just not hungry. Maybe he can't hear us. Maybe we're not stimulating him enough. Maybe it's a phase.
Avoiding eye contact is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Now, your weather on Troy TrojanVision News.
Thank you for staying tuned to your Troy TrojanVision weather. I'm Belle Johnson. Now taking a look at the quad cam, you'll see we have some mostly cloudy skies, but it seems to be clearing up in the distance, but I'll have more about that after our current conditions. Look at today's skies are right now partly cloudy. We had some sunny skies earlier this morning, but those clouds have moved in. The temperature is currently around 88 degrees with humidity about 50%, with pressure just below 30 inches, with winds coming from the north around 7 miles an hour. Now looking at our weather almanac, you'll see the high today has been 88, which is only 10 degrees lower of our record high of 98 in the year 1911. The low was around 58, with a record low being 47 in 1984. And despite those cloudy skies, we have had no rain today. Now looking around the state, you'll see Huntsville is around 84 degrees, as well as Phoenix City and Montgomery. Birmingham is around 83 degrees. We here in Troy seem to be the warmest at 88. Dothan is at 77 and Mobile is at 85. Now looking around to southeast, to see most everyone is in mildly warm temperatures. We have some temperatures in the 70s and 80s, a couple places in the 60s. And looking across the country, you'll see out west they are having a little slightly cooler temperatures than we are, with highs in the 70s and 60s, with the coolest temperatures being only in the 50s. Now looking at our future forecast, you'll see tomorrow it looks like we'll have some partly cloudy skies with some rain south of us, but it shouldn't affect us that much. Friday, once again, some partly cloudy skies, but it looks like the rain will exit our area. Maybe a few showers though. Saturday, those showers will clear out with some sunny skies and some nice temperatures, and Sunday we'll go back to having partly cloudy skies. Looking at tonight, the low will be around 65 degrees with a slight chance of thunderstorms, but carry that umbrella just in case, but I don't think we'll be seeing anything too severe. Wind will come from the west around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, the high will be around 75 degrees with once again some chance of thunderstorms. Wind will come from the northwest around 5 miles an hour. Now looking at the next 4 days, you'll see Thursday we have a high of 84 with a 30% chance of rain and a low 65. Friday a high of 88 with a low 66. Saturday a high of 90 with a low 66. And Sunday a high of 92. So have that umbrella with you for the rest of the week. That has been your forecast. Now back to the news desk.
Well, I was expecting those 90-degree temperatures, but I wasn't expecting rain, but that's definitely great to know. Thank you so much for that, Belle. And still to come on TrojanVision News, hurricane season will be here shortly, and there are a few things you should know to prepare for it. We'll explain. And it's Preeclampsia Awareness Month. That's why one woman is taking the time to educate people about it. We'll have that and more after the break, so stay with us.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Now for news from across the nation and around the world on TrojanVision News.
The 2023 hurricane season begins in just a few hours. That's why federal officials are urging people to be ready. Natalie Brand has a story from Washington, D.C.
People who live in Fort Myers Beach, Florida, know firsthand that just one storm can devastate a community. Many are still struggling to rebound from Hurricane Ian. And now it's time to prepare for the 2023 storm season.
No two storms are alike.
FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says it's not just residents on the coast who need to get ready.
These hurricanes are different than what we've seen in the past. There are more rain events, there's stronger storm surge, and the majority of the fatalities are coming from those two hazards.
What are you most worried about this year?
What I worry about the most right now is the fact that we need to focus more on the actual risks and hazards that are associated with these hurricanes.
The nation's hurricane experts are expecting what they call a near normal season, 12 to 17 named storms with as many as 4 becoming major hurricanes.
The message has to be, no matter what the seasonal forecast is, you have to prepare as if you're going to be affected.
We've just discussed this.
At the White House, agency chiefs briefed President Biden on NOAA's improved hurricane modeling systems.
We're getting more and more accurate forecasting of hurricanes, their tracks, their intensity, their associated storm surge, which means saving more lives because we can anticipate what is likely to happen.
Forecasters caution people not to become complacent if we don't see storms early on in the season. They stress the threat is there every day until the end of November. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
May is Awareness Month for preeclampsia, which is a type of high blood pressure some women can develop during or after pregnancy. A new survey shows many of us are not aware of the condition that can be deadly. Bradley Blackburn introduces us to a mom who's teaching people about preeclampsia.
Trayshawn Powell's mission is to raise awareness.
I always say that my story can change yours. It's really important to talk with your doctor about your symptoms.
In 2013, the Powells were thrilled to be expecting their first baby. Trayshawn's blood pressure was high at her 20-week appointment. 3 weeks later, she called her doctor. He suspected a stomach virus.
I ended up vomiting controllably, couldn't stand, severe swelling in my feet and ankles. I called him back again. He said, you probably should go to the nearest ER.
She had developed HELP syndrome, a variant of preeclampsia, the only treatment to deliver at 23 weeks. Trayshawn was left fighting for her life and grieving after losing her baby, Mia.
After Mia passed, it was very difficult for me to comprehend what just happened in a matter of hours.
A new survey for the March of Dimes finds only 42% of people are familiar with preeclampsia.
Blood pressure will start to rise. Dizziness, blurred vision is very common. Nausea and vomiting, abdominal pain, and then a lot of swelling.
African American women are also at higher risk of pregnancy complications.
The maternal health care crisis that's going on now in the United States is deplorable. And when you look at Black women, they are 3 to 4 times more likely to die than white women.
The Powells now have 8-year-old Jasmine and 5-year-old Ryan. Trayshawn was monitored closely for both pregnancies.
Every woman, no matter what color, should have a beautiful, successful birthing experience.
And to help make that happen, she organized the Promise Walk for preeclampsia in her New Jersey hometown this month. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Still to come on Troy, Trojan Vision News, a new exhibit in the International Art Center aims to show nature and art. We will learn more about it during Trojan Talk right after this break. Stay tuned.
Communicate, to bank, and none of us know how to read and write code.
The first program I wrote asked things like, what's your favorite color? Or how old are you?
I wrote a program to play tic-tac-toe.
I first learned how to make a green circle and a red square appear on the screen.
You're just trying to make something, trying to transfer something from your mind to the computer or to a tablet. It's an experience.
The whole limit in the system is just that there just aren't enough people who are trained and have these skills today.
The programmers of tomorrow are the wizards of the future. You know, you're going to look like you have magic powers compared to everybody else.
Great coders are today's rock stars. That's it.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Trojan Talk. I'm Paige Ray. Joining us today is an artist with the International Art Center. This is Zdenko Krtic. I told him before this interview started I'm going to try and say his name correctly throughout, but thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. So, you've been here for a little while now. You have an exhibition in the IAC, but you also met with some students a few weeks ago. Before we get into all of that, tell us about your work.
Sure. I'm a full-time artist, painter now. I've been teaching for about 27 years at Auburn University in the Department of Art and Art History. And just recently I have retired, built a new studio in Auburn, Alabama, and I went back to my first love, and that was full-time painting and drawing. So this exhibition that I'm showing at Troy here is the result of last 3 or 4 years of my work in the studio full-time.
That's awesome. So tell us about the work that's currently on display in the IAC.
My interest in art, in contemporary art, is to explore the nature of representation and perception, nature of light. And I'm doing that twofold, using photography and using painting and drawing. And so the photography offers immediacy and glimpse of light and visual transparency in the nature. The painting offers more slow down and meditative kind of qualities that you can impart onto that imagery collected in nature. But often I'm inspired by my walk through the countryside, and all the sensory, sound, visual, textural, visceral experiences are all in my paintings.
Now, we were talking before this interview began, you use beeswax in your painting, which is an unusual type of work, is that correct?
It is correct. It is gaining in popularity. It happens to be actually a very ancient painting medium. Just like with oil painting, you would use linseed oil to mix dry pigments to make oil paint. In this type of painting, you use natural beeswax and then some resins, tree resins, to use them as a medium to melt your pigments and use that as a painting medium. So it's encaustic painting.
And what effect does that provide that you wouldn't get from other types?
That's a very good question. There are advantages and disadvantages. One fantastic thing of being Southern artist here, and I consider myself Southern artist, is that the humidity here is very high.
Oh, yes.
As you probably noticed. But with wax is completely impervious to moisture. So it's a good archival quality to have medium of wax used for painting versus some other mediums. Also, it dries instantly, so whatever results you produce, you can instantly exhibit. It doesn't have to, it cures very long time, but not on the surface, so it's ready for exhibition as soon as you do it. It can also be easily destroyed. The beauty of wax is that it is visually transparent and translucent, and that's the beauty of it.
and you gave students a chance to kind of try their hand with that.
I was impressed with your students here. They were coming from the Department of Art, and Professor Greg Skaggs was bringing them in. These are drawing students, and I asked them to come to my show before I come and see my exhibition, find hopefully some inspiration in my work, and do some drawing and sketching from the exhibition. And so when I came, I was teaching them how to use wax as a transfer medium. So we would use pieces of wood with wax applied on them. I prepared that in advance. And then I was showing them how easy and fun it is to transfer the drawings from their sketchbook to the actual panels.
I wonder how they were feeling during that. I'm sure not many of them had seen that.
No, I think it was fairly new for all of them. They responded well, and I think the thing they can get out of this is that just to get a glimpse of what the potential of the medium is, that is kind of foreign to them. So they seem like want me to come back and do more.
Good.
And also, I think the key is really when you talk to young people about and showing them some processes, they should really hopefully see the passion that I have for the process.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's talk about this because you did have your opening night recently.
Yes.
So folks can go and see your work now. What can they expect when they go through there?
Well, I think, as you know, probably we are all sort of focused on our own disciplines, so usually busy with other things in life. I think the exhibition is a good opportunity for anybody, however they feel about contemporary art, to come and see for themselves. It is what connects us to being human, any type of experience of slowing down and looking at visual painting, art, drawing. So I feel like there's plenty to see. My focus this time is on light qualities and afterlights and the kind of notion of light residue. And so that's kind of hard to explain in the words. So you need to go and come and see the work.
If that doesn't convince people to come and see it, I don't know what will. Tell me, do you know how long your exhibition will be in the IAC?
Yes, the exhibition just opened last week. We had the artist reception last night. It was very nice. Lots of colleagues came from the university here and students and others. The show will be open until August 27, so there's plenty of opportunity to come and see it.
Well, Zdenko, thank you so much for being with us. We're so excited to have your work here on display and to get to learn about a new art form that many of us probably didn't know about.
Let me know what you think.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Trojan Talk.
The aftermath of one car crash turns into the scene of another, and authorities are using the double trouble to send an important message to highway drivers. Jeremy Roth has all that in today's Take a Look at This.
A wild and high-flying crash caught on camera in Georgia was like something out of a movie. Lowndes County deputies were responding to the scene of an earlier crash when the startling second accident unfolded. You see a deputy walking along when a car suddenly launches off the back of a tow truck's ramp and flips in midair. The driver reportedly survived the crash but was injured. County officials are using the shocking incident to highlight the state's Move Over law, which urges drivers to be aware of roadside emergency vehicles. From a car that took flight to a pooch that put up a fight. A pair of pet owners in California are calling their 11-year-old dog a hero after it was caught on camera chasing off a coyote that attacked its puppy sibling. The backyard fracas lasted only a few seconds, but the pup, Harley, was left recovering with multiple stitches. The owners say it would have been worse if it weren't for the venerable Vinny.
Vinny's a superhero.
I am. I'm looking for a doggy cape because I think he deserves one. I would give him a steak, but he has no teeth. So.
And finally, a Texas gas station got a buzz cut when officials had to cut open its wall and remove a massive humming hive. Apparently, honeybees have been a nuisance at this 7-Eleven for years. Crews finally cracked open the building and used pollen to gather the bees from the colossal colony. They then treated the area so that other honey hoarders will think twice before nesting and just buzz off. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, we're just about out of time, so Belle can give us a recap about tomorrow's weather.
Absolutely, Mackenzie. So tomorrow around 8 a.m. we'll see temperatures around 69 degrees. Winds will come from the east around 10 miles an hour. Around noon we'll warm up to 79 degrees with winds once again coming from the east around 10 miles an hour. And around 4 p.m. we'll get to our high of around 83 degrees.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to those warmer temperatures. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Have a good one.